Season 7, Episode 21, number 286 of the Decoded Podcast. At our regular time on Saturday mornings. It feels weird.
Yeah, it's true.
It's like it's too early to be podcasting.
We're getting that the mental efficiencies of getting back into the work week.
Oh, God.
We're just priming the pump. Priming the pump.
I want to take that pump and toss it.
Yeah.
No interest, but such is life.
Such is. I'm sort of mindful of the energy around the house, just listening for those kind of cues of like, I can't believe the holiday's over. I can't believe, gotta go back to work. Like those conversations are starting to like boop, 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 like the simmer on the water, and just you're waiting for that first bubble to kind of boop, 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 and then by Sunday it'll be like I'm not ascribing to that. I'm just trying to keep it cool.
Well, I like that. Keep it cool. I got my beverage. For the first time in a long time, I'm not interested in the break being over. So, but it'll come to an end like it always does. And we'll all get up on Monday and go to where we're supposed to be.
I'm taking a third path on this. So it's not about the break. It's not about the work. It's about and it's not a direct third option here. But I'm really, really scrutinizing what else. Okay, so it's a little bit like I would like the break to keep going, but dealing with the reality is that the break can only be a break. Like I'm not taking a break from holidays. I'm taking a break from work. So the fact that I would even say I have a break, it's because I have work to support it. So it's like, thank you, work, for giving me the break. It's kind of ironic, right? But it's true. You can't, you don't, if you've never had a job, you never get to say you're on vacation. It's kind of, to some degree. I mean, fight me. We could argue that one, but it's like,
fight me.
Right. But the kids, some of my students sometimes say, I need a break. And your power responses, but you haven't done anything yet. But everyone else is taking a break. You're like, okay, I get you. So I don't know if it's maybe it's a different planet way to look at it, is that I'm really squishing work down to, it's a necessary thing that I have to do to fuel the things that I'm more interested in doing. So to that end, I'll still do very well at it, but I'm building efficiencies so I can sort of focus on, other things that I won't, I guess I could say I would rather be doing, but I do enjoy work as well. I do. But I can say wholeheartedly that I am going out of this March break with the mindset of how do I tighten up my skill at work so I can spend more time writing poetry, being involved in theater, like doing other stuff. So it's like being more mindful of how I'm transitioning into or giving as much energy to life away from work as I do at work. And this has been a slow roll, I'd say, over the last 3-4 years. I guess the simple way to look at it is that when retirement numbers become more real, and I'm guessing that's different for every single person, but where retirement is now on the horizon as a possible destination, I am aware of this in like a 10-year stretch. Like I want to have something to transition to, and I say it now, I don't want it to be more school, though I will keep doing part-time teaching in order to fuel whatever other interests pop up. So yeah, that's I guess in some ways I'm grateful for the break to end, because I need that transition moment to light me up on other projects that are coming up. Like I don't want it to be a 365-day project. I want to have clear, and this is really, I guess, different for me. I want to have clear transitional spaces so that I know that I have traction moving towards something. I'm still not in the sort of grand sense on a Friday, say, just chomping at the bit, saying like I can't wait for Saturday and Sunday to happen. I think unless I can say what it is I have going on Saturday and Sunday, that I'm not going to say I'm looking forward to Saturday or Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to make it loose like that. Like somehow just the universe owes me a Saturday, Sunday. The universe owes me downtime. I think I'm on the other side where I'm like, no, you know what? I'm going to intentionally schedule things I'm interested in, and the downtime will come as a result of, you know what? I'm kind of tired. I need to take some downtime. It's kind of like mindful eating. So you wake up and you're not hungry. The common language would be, well, shove something in your face because you've woken up and your body's been asleep for a long time. Like feed it. I think there's another side to that, though, is that if you're actually not feeling hungry, don't feed yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Wait till your stomach, wait to the sort of the physiological effects. Wait till you're kind of like, oh, you know what? My stomach's kind of there. Or, whatever your tell is, maybe you start to get a little bit of a headache or you feel some tension, or you're just feeling low, right? I know for some people, depending on their health, if they go into a low, that's not good. So they got to make sure they have a constant bit of feed in there. But I feel like right now, paying attention to my inputs towards things that I want to be doing has become very, very important to me. And watching to see how the body responds to it. So I'm not feeling any stress about Monday. I know that there are tasks that I have to have completed for Monday. I'm going to work on those tomorrow. Today, I have kind of like a few things I would like to get done. I have my show tonight. I have my final show tomorrow. Yeah, it's funny. I'm actually enjoying this idea of having clear transitional moments. And I would say the last few years, I was the one that was saying, no, just smooth it out. Fine grain it. Like just kind of go with the flow. I'm not digging too deep into type A personality, like everything has to be hyper scheduled. But I am finding freedom in committing to tasks and projects and saying, I want to do this thing. And it's slowly, I think a vision of life after teaching is starting to emerge because I'm doing the work to do that. So one of the questions so Karen came and saw the show last night.
Mm-hmm.
And the family came and saw the show. And so new listeners, anyone listening right now, I'm going to play God of Carnage. Come and see it. South Simcoe Theater. Tonight and tomorrow, the last two shows, there's still tickets left. But this process started back in November. I've been more present in this process than I have in other shows. And that was intentional. I wanted to come away from this being able to tell myself that I put everything that I had available into it, and not compromised how I lived my life, which is a funny little balance, right? Still doing things with the fam, not hiding away too much, doing my line runs and my research and my kind of character development on my own time and figuring out what my own time was. I've really gathered some interesting observations about myself in this process. And whatever the next project that I go into, it's going to be really useful, very useful, let alone the networking element, which is me connecting with other people that are doing similar kind of work. I'm starting to feel like that's going to be very helpful as I move, over the next 8 years or whatever it is towards retirement. Like I'm going to have I'm going to move on to another step, and I'm going to be able to kind of keep doing shit and not slow down too much into retirement, barring any sort of possible physical stuff or life challenges that pop up. That was a really long-winded way of saying, I am aware that Monday I'm back at work. I'm not fighting it, but I'm also not feeding it. So, because there's other things I'd rather feed this weekend. And it's not because I feel like I only have 2 days left before I go back. It's just a fact. Shit, I want to get done this weekend. So
I'm not going to fight you. Fight me. I like that.
yeah, fight me.
I'm not going to fight you. I guess I'm in a place this weekend where I don't want to feed the nonsense about going back to work on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to feed that. I do want to enjoy these 2 days before I go back. And I'm going back to something I don't want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm in a little bit of a different situation. Some would argue, well, that's where you are, so just go and do your thing. Once I'm there, I'll do my thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I am pushing back a little bit up here. Not interested, so I'm not going to give it much. But I hear what you're saying about all those layers. It was nice to have a week where I didn't have to go to work. I enjoyed that. I'm still enjoying that.
Did you say that each day?
Pardon me?
Did you, well, were you thankful each day that you weren't going into work?
Yep.
And I mentioned that because to sort of only appreciate the week when you're watching it on game tape, for me, that's unfortunate. And I mean, I've heard other people talk that way, right? Like, it was an amazing week, and now I have to go back to work. I think that if you're in each day, here's another fight me moment. If you're in each day and you're really just kind of like digging into the day, then to come out to make a statement at that end of the week that somehow it wasn't enough, or somehow even slightly suggesting that there's a problem with transitioning back to work. My only question would be, like, so this almost regretful, rueful kind of like moment on the tail end, is that because you weren't present each day? Like, you actually do feel like you kind of wasted time? Or did you fill the time? Like, did you do exactly what you should have been doing, which was enjoy each day? And if you do that, then you come to the end of the week and it feels, I would suggest it's almost like a more natural transaction. I know I wasted time. Do I regret that? Yep, I do. Like, where I was just like, I could have been doing like free time, unscheduled time, empty time, whatever you want to kind of label that. I think it is okay to kind of say, I wish I would have used that 2 hours for something other than just like staring at my phone, because staring at the phone can happen along the path to other interesting things. Like, just kind of slot it in when you're actually truly believe you got nothing else to do. But I will tell you, by virtue of the fact that I've taken my phone to the bathroom, I wasted time in the bathroom. I was done in the bathroom and I sat there and I watched another 2 videos. So that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about, right? Like, that kind of, kind of regret that. But if you're present, then it would strike me that if you're present, then you're also aware. It's kind of a weird thing. If you're present, then you're also aware that at some point being present will have to change. So you're going to have to move on to the next thing. So now that work is coming around the corner, for me, I'm like, I feel like I was present this last week. I guess my family could argue if they're like, well, you weren't present with us. I'm like, okay, something to work on. But if I felt like I was present in the time, kind of used it up, woke up, did things, experienced things, created things, it doesn't make me say like Yahoo work, but maybe I just come back to, there has to be the work, because that's what my life is about. Like, I can't be I can't do this podcast with you unless I make money. Like, it's a thing. I can't have my second coffee or third coffee of the day unless I make money. Like, that has to come from somewhere. So I think in many ways, I kind of have released myself from this idea that because work is inevitable right now, I don't invest in the stress or counter thinking of, oh my God, I have to go back to work on Monday. Like, I just said, my brain, maybe I'm fortunate, it just doesn't fight back. It doesn't fight back. I don't fight it. Not to say that's what you're doing, but you did trigger me wondering, were you as present as expected for this past week?
I'm glad you brought that up because I can answer that definitively and tell you I was uber present this week.
Mhm.
When we started the break, I would say from Thursday evening to Wednesday evening, every single day I got up and I had 2 or 3 items that I wanted to do to ease my return on Monday and to make me feel accomplished. So on those days, I would set out. I would I'd have a task that I wanted to address, and then once I addressed it, the rest of the day was mine. And it felt so good. It felt so good to wake up at like 6 o'clock in the morning, get into my routine, and by like 8:15, I'm on the computer and I'm working on my task. And the whole time I'm thinking, this is friggin' awesome because by 10 a.m., 10:30 a.m., if things go well, I will have accomplished this task. And it's one less thing I need to worry about on the back end of the break. I'm dealing with a little bit every day. And doing that gave me permission and gave me the freedom to enjoy this break more than I've enjoyed in a while because I'm not interested in going back to work.
Mm.
So it's an interesting conundrum because I don't like what I'm doing at work. I made sure to enjoy every moment I had this week because I don't have to work, but I did still set goals and I did still have things to do and want to do. And I would get them I broke it down into little chunks and I worked on them. And so when I would on the Monday, when I got done what I set out to get done, then the rest of the day was mine. So it was like I haven't felt this way in a long time. So talking to you right now is helping me focus on the positives that come with this, unfortunately, right? Because I believe there's like a yin and a yang to everything. So right now, this side of it, the break side, is like I'm totally interested. Not that I wasn't before, but like before, a break like this is a friggin' bonus. Oh, you mean to tell me that when I do have to go to work, I can do something I really enjoy? And then you're telling me I can have a week away from work to really enjoy that part of my life? Yeah, I'll take that. For me, it's bonus on bonus. Now I'm feeling back to the traditional work sucks. So when you get a break, enjoy your break, leave work alone because you'll get to go back to that. Don't worry, that's coming. Right? So very interesting. No, but even my family was like, what are you doing? I'm like, I have things I want to do and I don't want to do them next weekend. I want to do a little bit every day. I want to feel that sense of accomplishment. I want to feel that sense of discipline. And I want to enjoy the rest of my day to do what I want. And well, I know and some of my I will sit on the couch and I will just surf the television for hours. I got no
Mm.
problem with that. None. It feels even sweeter when you've already like worked out for the day, um, did a ton of work that nobody else wants to do during the day, and then it's just smooth sailing for the rest of the day. You just do whatever you want because you bought your time back in a way. So
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, I totally get what you're saying, and I've had both sides now. I don't know if everybody can say that. I don't know. Well, not everybody, but for the last how many years, I've really enjoyed the work I do when I'm at work. So really, I was talking to my wife about this yesterday. When when a break would come, I'm like, I would it would just be a bonus. I'm like, oh, I can spend all this time with my family. Like, it's just not that I want to be at work all the time, but when you go to work and you like it,
Mhm.
I just think every other thing is a bonus. when they're like, oh, you don't have to come back here for a week because we're giving you a break. Oh, okay, I'll take that. Rather than like look forward to the break and be like, I can't wait for this break to come. I need this break to come. And you're just dragging ass to the end of the week, the work week, so you get to a weekend, right? I've seen both sides.
Yeah. Yeah. I just, maybe it's because I've just become more and more aware of the finite nature of my energy that I can focus on any one thing. So maybe just something in my brain is like I almost a little bit of like Stockholm syndrome. Just like give into it. Like don't fight. Because I guess there's two ways to look at it. Like don't fight the work, as in if you have to get something done, like and it's there in front of you, get that done. So there's like almost the immediate close one. But don't fight the concept of work either. Just that sort of like bigger, looser kind of thing of it has to be a part of your world because you want to eat and you want to have a holiday. So holidays, wouldn't exist without the other concept of work. No one's winning a lottery around here. So, but then I would even argue that you win a lottery and you no longer get holidays. Like if you stop working, you stop having holidays. Yeah, I would kind of smile. Like someone said to me, like how somehow retirement is permanent vacation. I'm like, no, it's not. And because vacation in some ways for me has to be the other side of the coin of work, like just by nature of it. Like if you're shifting your whole kind of operating system and you no longer acknowledge work or vacation anymore, like those terms just aren't in your vocabulary. Okay, fine. Let's talk about that. But I have had friends that like, yeah, I can't. As soon as I retire, I'm going to be like, it's going to be like being on holiday all the time. I'm like, well, I think to myself, doubt it. You still have bills to pay. Your health is still going to decline as you get older, right? You're just going to have people asking you to do things when you'd prefer not to be doing things. That's kind of like work. Like it's still there. So I think for me, coming back to where I sort of started this, that awareness of being present is the awareness of being present is kind of the sweet spot. So even coming out of this weekend, I feel like the days were purposeful enough that the fact that I have things to do on Monday, I'm just shifting that I have to now fulfill that purpose. I kind of like it. And I will concede that I'm still liking the work that I'm doing. You're in a different spot. I hear you. I understand it. And I'm happy that for me, I can disagree with that in my context, but still appreciate the fact that it's shit. It's a shitty position to be in that you're feeling.
And I'll just roll with it. Monday, I'll wake up and go to work.
Yeah.
Because that's what I'm supposed to do on that day. So I will.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's whatever. I've had a great week and it continues. I still have 2 days. I'm not losing those 2 days. I'm going to enjoy both days. And I'm going to live them up as much as I can and enjoy them because I don't have to be anywhere else. So we'll go with that. If we could shift gears for a second.
Pivot us.
So I want to say hello and bonjour to Rochelle. Thanks for joining us this morning, Rochelle.
Bienvenue.
Our good man Gary K is here too. Gary, welcome. Good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Mm-hmm.
Chris came to Waterloo region on Thursday. The Loo on Thursday.
Skip to the Loo.
And we got out and we got some good eats. It's funny. I've told a few people about the Costco hot dog, and they're like, "Let me get this straight.
That's what you spent?
Yeah. Your friend came 2-hour drive, and you took him to Costco for a hot dog." I'm like, you need context, mon frere. You need context.
The beauty of it, like that was trippy. There was a lot of cool stuff that like just flowed well. The fact that it totally reminded me of back in the day of going to IKEA and getting that buck dog. Like that was the thing. Fine, I'll get myself another Hemnes or whatever, lack shelving unit. But you know what? Relatively speaking, I'm buying one shelving unit and I'm dropping into 5 dogs. So those 5 dogs, whatever, $5 plus tax, I'm like,
You're in.
that's it. That's the gold.
So I'm not gonna go into the Costco dog, but what I am gonna get to is this idea that while you and I were hanging out and having good food,
Mm-hmm.
um, we came across something that kind of hit us both hard. And I was talking to you about the book club for men and about
Mm-hmm.
how one of the guys who was in the group who had gone through a bit of a struggle the last couple of months. Um, when I was talking to him, he told me that he was leaning on and had been leaning on one of the books that we read with the group and how it was helping him. And um, I guess I presented to you a real life situation where someone who's struggling was like, but hold on. Yes, I'm struggling. I'm going through some stuff, but let me tell you that because of the study and the camaraderie of the club, I've been able to like apply the things that we were talking about and learning about. And that for you and I think then we had a 20-minute conversation about this idea that it's more than just it. In this case, it was more than just a bunch of guys getting together on a Thursday night for an hour and a half, and talking
Mm-hmm.
about chapters we read from a book. And isn't that what we're kind of not maybe not seeking, but aren't we open to that, right?
I think
Because
seeking's okay to say. I
okay,
think seeking's okay to say. Part of it is, I think seeking has to come with some acceptance, because part of it is, we can that the book club and the iterations of the book club moved very quickly from something just on the page to what was actually going on with the people. Like we really did a good job at honoring everyone's story, everyone that chose to sort of contribute, and each of the books that we pursued became the kind of like a vehicle or the bridge to talk about what we had going on in our lives, as men, as husbands, as fathers, some of us. So that elegance of hanging out together was the essence. That was the essence. I think what happened was then we sought it out. So in the next iteration, we're like, okay, I don't want to step back from this honesty. I don't want to step back from the eagerness, the intentionality of talking about our lives through the lens of these books. So yeah, I think but that took bravery to kind of say, I'm back here because, and that started to come out as well. People weren't just kind of like showing up on the Zoom or whatever. They were dropping in early, having conversation beforehand. There was the whole, the coffee hour around that, people hanging back to kind of share personal stories. So when you told me that, one of the guys that was a part of the group flat out told you that the work that he did, and that is really what it comes down to, the work that he did as a result of that book club, I got a little choked, man. I was mid hot wing. I'm like, what? Like, I said, just give me a minute here. This isn't the fumes from the hot sauce. Like I'm having some proud feels here. So that was cool. That was very cool that they are doing well with that, and that they had a strategy, a tool, a method to kind of like navigate those big moments. Because what you were describing are big life moments that can easily just be kind of trampled down and say, well, I can't really deal with this because there's a bigger scheme going on. So that's what I loved about some of the books that we read. They provided a way to kind of like actually work the moment when it was in front of you. And when it comes back up, how do you keep track of it? How do you sort of still, if it has high emotionality to it, here's something that you can try. If it's like you can't calm yourself, here's a way that you can calm yourself. So shout out, I will still say shout outs to sort of like Daily Stoic, Ryan Halliday, and the Tools. What's the dude's name?
Stutz.
Phil Stutz. Yeah. So those I think we read a lot of different books, but those were two key texts, I think. Just as a side note to that, me posting up my Stoic calendar on Facebook has elicited some really interesting conversations. People reaching out to me like, that is really cool, or that is fascinating. Or I think I told you, my brother-in-law saying that he went out and bought picture frames and created these calendars for his kids because he wants his kids, and anyone, listening, you can just Google Stoic calendar or message me or Chids. I have a template on Google Docs I can share. So yeah, but him wanting to do that with his kids, going back to like, how do I help my kids understand that it's important to be present? And just because you are present doesn't mean you're going to like what you see. It just means you're there when it happens. You're actually bearing witness to your own life in real time, not at the end of the week or like a month from now. So very cool. Very, very cool.
I'd like to say, and now we're kind of shifting away from text to video, right? We're shifting our medium around the book club for men.
Mm-hmm.
And I dig that. Just last night when I was getting ready for bed, I was listening to / watching a podcast on YouTube, and it was funny because the host was talking about his difficulty reading texts, that it takes him more time to read it. His comprehension isn't that great. And I'm like brushing my teeth thinking, that's me. I'm just like you, except I don't have $10 million and whatever, right? But I was
Mm-hmm.
like, that's me. So I'm glad that we're kind of shifting. Oh, I've decided we'd shift a little bit away from um, written format to something we can watch and listen to. Because you've got a great. I watched the first episode of Limitless, the documentary on Hemsworth
Mm-hmm.
and the process he goes through over a year. I think I
Mm-hmm.
remember him saying. I watched the first episode and I was like, yeah, I could dig this. We could do a book club for men on this
Mm-hmm.
because the things he's doing and experiencing is very applicable, well, to everyday life for anybody. Um,
Maybe
let
Gary
alone
would come out.
Gary K. Maybe
Maybe.
if this comes to fruition,
Mm-hmm.
I will certainly keep him in the loop.
Very
Um,
nice.
and speaking of Gary, he's on his way to IKEA today.
Grab a
Gary,
dog.
grab a dog, but don't eat the veggie dog. I took a picture of it yesterday for Chris. It was on the screen they were advertising. I got close to the screen, and it looks like somebody took a regular hot dog, dropped it, let it roll on the floor to collect all the dirt, and then picked it up and said, "Here's your veggie dog." Like, it looks like it's been pieced together by a bunch of different
The
things.
carpet dog.
The carpet dog, and I'm like, I'm just looking at it thinking, I'm glad that that's not me that's chosen to eat that.
Yeah, we'll pull up. Let's reserve too much judgment. I mean, that might be Gary's thing, right? It could be anyone's thing.
If
I
it's
know for
Gary's
me,
thing, he'll tell us because he knows I'm gonna speak my mind.
yeah, it's
So,
true. It's true. It's true.
I mean, let's look at the context. Yes, so I'm talking trash about the veggie dog. It's all just my opinion. If somebody wants to jump in, I know Rochelle's a vegan.
Fight
Maybe
me,
she'll
fight me. It's the
fight.
fight me moment. Yeah.
Rochelle, jump in and tell us about your vegan lifestyle. Would you eat this dog from IKEA? It just
Well,
doesn't. It does not look
it might be in the
palatable.
words that you just said. If someone is vegan, they're not eating a veggie dog, right? Because at least from my experience, you can call it veggie, but there could still be something that disagrees with vegan sort of like pathway. So
The
the
pathway, I
dog,
like that.
yeah, the vegan pathway. So the dog. I was thrilled when I saw that, dude. I was like, that is perfect. It's the perfect wraparound because that's what I was saying. The whole Costco dog reminded me of the whole grab like a buck and the fact that Costco's got the price point down so
Yes.
much more than who's hard to say. Hard to say. It's probably pretty close because really pop doesn't cost much at all. And
No,
we know the whole Costco model is take a hit here, knowing full well you're going to make your money back over here. So it's a distraction, right?
the dog hit is nothing compared to what they're making on the other end,
It was
right?
delicious though. I will tell you that Polish, they're Polish. The Polish dog was good. It was good. I craved onions, but it was good.
You know what's funny about that? I was talking to my buddy Joe Marquez about this, and he said the
Yeah.
same thing. Before he buys a dog anywhere, he checks to see if there's onions. If there are no onions, he's not getting the dog. I'm like, holy
Yeah.
cow.
I'm
Clough's on the
not
same
that
page. I love it.
yeah, I'm not that strident. I'm not that strident, but I get where he's coming from. Yeah, there's just and for me, I'm not a ketchup guy. It gets too sweet. So just relish, mustard, onion. Yeah, I like that. I like that. I might put funny though. I do like mayo on it. That's a late kind of addition to my hot dog condimentary.
I love I love
I
that
just made
the
that up, but that kind of works, eh? My condimentary.
condimentary.
What tell me about your condimentary process for a hamburger? We both know we ain't down for the tomatoes. We ain't no too
I
much
can't
water.
do it anymore.
Too
I
much water.
this is evolution for me because so I'm a guy who typically is if you're going to serve me something and you've got all these toppings I'm allowed to have for free, I want them all on whatever the object is
Hmm.
because it's for me it's like I'm getting more for less and that's how I operate. So it's like
Yeah.
here's your hot dog and or your burger and here are all the things you can have on it. You don't have to pay extra. I'm like put them all on. As time has gone on and I've talked to you about culinary experiences, adventures,
Hmm.
tastes, I've come to discover based on some of your conversations of how you get your burger from destination A to destination B with the flipping and stuff. Tomatoes wreck things for me because they're wet and they cause that liquid causes the buns to become mushy. I'm
You
not interested.
definitely, what is it? You go back to, what was it? Maybe episode 177. I think we did a whole, the importance of the how construction of a burger. So there is an episode out there where we dig deep into our condimentary burger rules.
I
So
like that, and I'm thinking it's time that it comes back a little bit. So
well, we're doing it with the dog, right?
we
The
are,
dog.
we are. I've so
Yep.
I've decided I don't need tomatoes on my burgers anymore.
Hmm.
Sorry. Now pickles, I'm still stuck on pickles. So if the pickles are a little bit, they come with a little bit of wetness. I'm gonna live with that unless they start
I'm a
wrecking my
pat
bun.
dry guy.
So am I, but I don't know
Yeah,
if
I'll
the
take out the
restaurants
paper
are.
towel and I'll tap that pickle on the paper towel.
I do
You
it
got me
every
think
time.
you got me thinking though about the tomato and wondering if I trim out the center pulp so it's just a tomato ring, if that could be something because I like the tomato flavor. I do
Yes,
like
so
the
do I.
tomato flavor. I'm just not down with the seeds and the water that comes out of it. And then the edge of the wet bun, like that's like sitting on a warm toilet seat. It ain't good.
I so
Not exactly, but not exactly. That came out faster than I analyzed. I should have pulled that one back as it was. It was, but
Rochelle's
it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable.
Rochelle's dropping bombs here. We're gonna get to it,
Okay,
Rochelle.
I
But
can't wait.
Rochelle, there is no control when I order a burger from a restaurant and I got to get it home. There's
Mhm.
no control. Nobody's patting my pickles dry. Nobody's coring my tomato. They're those poor souls making my burger. Maybe they love their job. The souls making my burger. Okay, they're just throwing the stuff on.
Wrap
I'm
it,
so, wrap it,
bag
get
it,
it out. Right.
take it, buddy. Go eat it as fast as you can.
So,
On to the next
Rochelle,
customer.
I'm not playing anymore. So when I get a burger from a restaurant, don't put any tomatoes on it because I know
You know,
nobody's coring anything.
here's very similar, very similar. It's also why I'm chronically disappointed by lasagnas when I go out for dinner. Because for me, the lasagna has to sit like a stack of cake. I
Gotcha.
don't want I don't want that shit like just oozing all over the plate. I don't need a whole lot of extra sauce. It's a funny thing. I think that if you are into constructed food, and there are some things that are like you make a plate, you roast a piece of chicken, you cook some potatoes, you get a veg, you slap it on the plate, it just sits on one plane. It's all flat. But there are some foods that they need to be stacked up. Burritos, tacos, burgers, a dog to a degree. It's kind of forgiving a little bit. Many desserts, they're meant to be layered. Lasagna, meant to be layered. You can't tell me you're giving me a burger, open it up, and I take one bite and everything shoots out at my family. Like that doesn't work. That doesn't work. And I will eat over, we talked about this. I'll eat over my fries. So then you're making like this messy ass kind of a poutine of like elementary stuff. But I do that as an excuse because I paid for these things, so I want to eat them. But if I had my choice, I'd rather eat crunchy fries, not soaky pickled tomato wet fries, right?
I gotcha. Okay, we're about to go a little bit deeper here now because Rochelle
Mm-hmm.
dropped a couple of bombs. So
I'm in. I'm
I'm
in.
gonna go backwards. Well, let's start with Gary because we're gonna be
Okay.
spending time on Rochelle's comments. So Gary says he was disappointed when Costco got rid of
Mm,
fresh condiments like onions and hot peppers. I don't even know that era. I have
mm-mm,
no idea when that happened. Mind you, this is the same conversation I had with Joe that he's like, yeah, no onions. I'm not buying the dog. I don't. That's what I want on my dog. I
mm-hmm,
did not know that they had fresh condimentaries at some point. So,
mm-hmm.
did you know that, Clough?
No, I'm
Oh,
imagining that I had no, because like I'm kind of new to this. I've never really, I've never bought food from Costco. I'm aware of it. I've seen it there. I was aware that, they moved over to the digital panels. You order it, pay for it ahead of time, and then walk up to the thing and they give it to you. Um, but I wasn't aware that there were a more robust offerings back in the day.
that would have
That
been the
would that would
bomb.
have made me jump if I had noticed. That probably would have made me jump at it sooner because that's easy. I could drop a dog, walking back to the car, like done and done.
I remember the one time. So I don't. When my family goes, well, my family doesn't go to Costco often, but the last time we went, not this last time, like 2, 3 times ago, we were together. I got a dog, and I literally, well, Chris, from the counter where you get the dog to the drink section, it's not, it's like what,
20 feet.
20 feet. Okay.
Yeah, 20 feet.
I had eaten the dog that I purchased for myself. So we
Mm,
get to the drinks, and everybody's looking at me. They're like, "Did you not get your hot dog?" I'm like, "Oh, I got my hot dog. Where is it? I ate it." They're like, "Dad, what the hell? Like, there was no where. How did you? How?" I'm like, "You really asking me that question? That's not the
mhm,
right question." I inhaled it. I was hungry, and they're just all looking at me like I'm crazy. I'm like, I could pound back several of those, no problem. And if
mhm,
there were onions and jalapenos, I don't know if there were, but I'm just imagining. Yeah, I would have gone nuts. I would have laid my base layer of mustard to hold all the onions that I was just about to put on that dog.
mhm,
And I'd be the guy eating, it'd be in the beard, it'd be spilling all over the floor. But I'd
mhm.
be in heaven after spending $450 on groceries with my $1.50 dog
On
off.
bread, or mangoes, strawberries. Why'd you bring home a case of grapes? Well, it's I don't know, honey.
Or a
I don't
brisket.
know.
Why'd
Yeah,
you buy a $150 brisket? Well, it was there.
uh, I was there.
It was there. Okay, so Gary, you're killing me because I'm not familiar with the onions and the hot peppers, but that would have been the bomb. Okay,
Hmm.
Rochelle says, put the lettuce on before the tomatoes as a moisture barrier.
Nope,
Rochelle
nope,
doesn't work like that. I'm sorry, Rochelle.
no. It doesn't. All that does is create a liquid trough. That's all it does. And then what ends up happening is you
Oh,
wilt the lettuce. Like the
yeah.
lettuce gets, yeah. So the problem is the tomatoes. Now, if you're a fanatic and you like to pick up your burger and drink it like a drinking box, have at it. But it's all about it's really about every ingredient has to be in balance and not destroy its neighbor. That's really what has to happen. So you want lettuce. I'm not a lettuce guy on my burger. I will if I do lettuce, I actually prefer the like that cheapy iceberg and I'll shred it. That's what I'll do. I'll actually shred it. And I've done it for my family for ages. Um, and I find that works because iceberg lettuce is like it's like almost bulletproof, like really, and it has a little bit of flavor. It actually has a little bit, just the right amount of sweetness, just the right enough that reminds you, like, oh yeah, I got lettuce on my burger. I'm not a leaf lettuce kind of guy, and anyone that puts fancy lettuces on their burgers, they're thinking out the wrong end of their body. So I'm not down. And again, tomato water trough, it's still gonna leak somewhere. I think all you're doing is, let physics be your guide. The only thing that will save tomatoes is having a dry old bun. That's it. because anything else just turns the whole thing into mush.
Okay, so
IMO.
I'm with you on the shredded lettuce.
Mhm.
I like that. I've yeah, I'm good with the shredded lettuce. Rochelle responds with iceberg lettuce as water.
It is, but you know what? That cell structure's tight, yo.
It,
You will not have iceberg lettuce. If your iceberg lettuce is dry, it's a delicious addition to it, and it doesn't leak. Not like tomatoes, not like wet pickles. It's not the fact.
as soon as Rochelle said put the lettuce there first, I was like, okay, so you're just building a place for the water to sit? Is that what you're doing? Because as soon as you said the juice box thing, I was like, yeah, I want
Yeah,
nothing to do with that.
put a
But
straw in it.
but if Rochelle, if that's how you roll, then that's how you
Yep.
roll. I've
Yep.
just I've moved in a direction where if I'm getting a burger and it's got to drive home, I'm not interested in letting all those juice. I didn't buy a drink burger. I bought a eat burger. So yeah. Anyway, Chris and I have had many conversations about this. Um,
You know what? This actually inspires me for our the new product line. I kind of like this like condimentary drinks we could do. Not smoothies, but like we could have the burger water. Let's just go full on. Do baseline like low flavored coconut water. We could add a little bit of tomato water in there. Some of the juice off the burger, maybe the sweat off a piece of American cheese, and you're eating. You're like, sorry, not eating it. You're sipping on this juice box. You're like, damn, this is all the water in one juice box. I don't have to have it in my burger. And my mouth's kind of watering right now. This idea that I could have a coconut water based drink that tastes like a hamburger.
so people don't get pop anymore. They order their dry burger and they get
You
their burger
dry
juices that come
dry
with it.
burger and you get your dog water.
Dog water and dry burger. Okay.
Yeah,
You,
condimentary line
you
of
heard you
drinks.
heard it first here on
Mhm.
Decoded. Okay, so this is where we might end up here for a while. So Rochelle says she's not a vegan. She
Yeah.
only can't eat eggs and dairy due to an allergy. Okay. So this is where so in my asshole years as a teacher, and some would argue I'm still there. I remember working with Rochelle, working at the same school, and I don't know how this started. Rochelle, if you remember how this started, fill me in. Rochelle said something about something in the staff room, and I was like, she's vegan. And I announced that to the staff. She's vegan. Make sure that whenever we do a potluck or breakfast or whatever, it's got to be vegan friendly. Um, bless Rochelle. She ran with it. So whenever I was like, Rochelle is vegan, she never denied. She just kind of rolled with it. And so there is like, I don't know, a dozen or two staff members in the system that if you drop Rochelle's name, they're like, she's vegan. Well, how do you know? Well, Roland told me. But they have no real evidence that Rochelle's vegan. So Rochelle says it was the breakfast before Christmas that the male staff would make. Okay. So somebody said something happened. Yeah, you're allergic to eggs or you won't eat eggs. Sorry, only can't eat eggs and dairy. That whole breakfast was eggs and dairy. So that must have been like,
Mhm.
Rochelle's vegan. She can't eat anything. We got to find something for her to eat. So what did you eat at those breakfasts, Rochelle? The pastries
I'm
or something?
I'm
Oh, there could
piling
be
up.
eggs there.
Yeah, or I'm depending, I'm piling up the bacon and maybe the home fries. That's a tasty set. You can have all the
That
tomato
is
and lettuce you
tasty.
want on that. You make yourself a breakfast sandwich.
Oh no, she didn't eat anything. That sucks.
Well, no, we get that.
Oh,
Maybe the clue, we get that. You know how I roll with like staff breakfasts and food. I'm like, if I watched you the week before sneezing into your hand or scratching your ear, or heaven help you if I notice you coming out of the bathroom a little too quick and I don't hear the hand washing going on. I'm not eating your food. I'm not eating your food. I don't care. I don't care if it's free.
I don't know if we want to go there here today with
That's
Rochelle. I don't
episode
know.
205 where we talk about there's some connectivity here, right? We talk about the observations you make at whose food you eat at staff socials. And then you could also check into episode 113, where we talk about cookie exchanges. So we've tapped into this. And don't quote me on those episodes, but they are out there.
They're out there for sure. So
Yeah.
I have shifted in my approach to eating anything in a staff room now. I have shifted.
As in you're welcoming it, or you're not welcoming it, or
No,
what's
no,
the
I'm not interested
no? Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah.
I pay very close attention to what it is, where it may have come from, how long it's been sitting out. Like, it's
Mm-hmm.
actually kind of cool. I wish we had the empathy engines, the
Mm-hmm.
decoded wearables that you could set different settings. So, like potluck setting, click, and then you look at an item, and it breaks down all the dangers. That would be
Yeah.
kind of fun.
Well, the tech already exists. Like many health inspectors, they use a laser thermometer. So
That's
you would just
right.
yeah, right, and the empathy engine sunglasses or whatever, like eyeglasses, just the little laser thing that takes the temperature of the food, and it's like, okay, you know what? That's not being held at the right temperature, and that's chicken, or there's mayonnaise in that.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's super simple to sort of add that into it. How much do you want to know about your world, right? How much do you want to know?
Yeah, how much do you want to know? I do pay attention though to the people who would walk in with the coolers and they'd be
Mm,
like, "Okay, don't worry, I've got the appetizer in the cooler." I'm like, "Okay, this person, I like this. They're being considerate of the fact that maybe you don't want that dip having sat out for 8 hours before you serve it to the staff. So
hmm.
and then be fighting for the bathroom for the next 4 hours, right?
Yep.
But then I mean, you don't really know, but at least I feel like they get points for appearing as though they care. Like, no, this food is supposed to be cold for many hours, and it's how I transport it from my fridge to here. But then, as you've mentioned, we don't know what happened in the creation of it.
Oh,
Uh,
I know. I
what?
know exactly. I know humans. Dude, I spent 30 years in the business. I know. I can watch someone's process. I can watch someone's process. I can figure I have to I went through many um phases of I just have to tell myself that I will recover because I do need some food, and I watch how people operate. I know exactly how people can make other people sick. And I
Okay.
can tell from the get someone comes from their car with the slow cooker, and they said, well, it's cool outside, so I just left it in the car,
Mm,
and I walk by and I put my hand on the slow cooker and I can feel it's still a bit warm, which means they basically started it up at home,
right.
dropped it in their car, and left it in the danger zone for like 4 hours until lunchtime rolled around. They're going to plug it back in, right?
Let it
Yeah.
reheat. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Let it reheat. So, and that's
So,
just like this ain't the food review. It's decoded, but I'll just say I know. I know.
well, here's the cool thing. So, even though I've not spent 30 years in the business, the way you describe that, if I would see that, I would instinctively stay away from that because in my brain, there's all kinds of things going on about temperatures going up, temperatures going down. If, and the idea that if that's what you're going to do, then how are you living your everyday life with food in general? Like if that's how you're going to roll when you're feeding other people, and some would argue that it's not fair for me to expect people to operate a certain way. That's all fine and dandy.
That's true. I will say that's true. But you then also just have to make sure that you're making the choice not to eat it. And
Right.
if someone asks you why, I'll tell you because I didn't see you wash your hands 2 months ago when you came out of the bathroom. Oh, oh. I'm like, yep, that's a thing.
So what I do now is I'll holler out Poppy's been a little sloppy from Seinfeld, and everybody in my family knows what that means. They're like, don't go near that thing or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, so Rochelle's laying it on thick now. So back to the burger. She I am more of a salsa on my burger person. So it is obvious now Rochelle likes her burgers juicy and
Tomatoed, fully tomatoed.
so Rochelle doesn't like to have a dry, crisp bun. She likes the buns on her burgers to be fucking tomato soaked. I'm sorry, Rochelle. This is too good. This is too good. Okay, moving on. This is a good one. This is I should just click my face off and put Rochelle's face on. She's running this podcast now.
Here we go.
She was once at a bridal shower for a Portuguese person, and they left all the food sitting out after the shower until the stag and doe later that night.
Mm-hmm.
She
Mm-hmm.
quickly told her family before eating. Ay,
Yeah.
ay, ay.
And I will say that's not specific to Portuguese
No, no,
background. I'll
no.
say my Polish heritage. It's like it's made, it stays out there until it gets eaten. The fact of it is, there's too much to put in the fridge, so
My
it
mom's
better better get eaten.
my mom's the same, unfortunately, which my wife says that that's probably why I have an iron stomach. Because
Mhm.
growing up, my mom would do the same thing. Maybe it's a generational thing. I don't know. I don't know. But I
It
now
doesn't change the danger. I'm sure
no,
there's
no.
lots of I know that for my grandparents, it would have been they were, freshly immigrated to Canada. They were the jobs, the money wasn't coming in. They grew a lot of their own stuff. So they would get butchered meat from their buddy who was doing it out of his garage. So there was a whole lot of infractionary kind of behaviors that growing up we just kind of rolled with, which would include like Christmas, the food coming out at like 3 in the afternoon, and there were still people standing around the table pulling up sweaty pieces of Cracker Barrel cheddar that had been there like for 7 hours, right? And then the next day, them kind of saying, "Oh, I must have had too much whiskey." I'm like, "No, you ate the sweaty cheese. That's what it was. You ate the sweaty cheese
All
and
these years, the
the
whiskey's been
kielbasa."
getting blamed.
Yeah, it's the whiskey, too much whiskey. No, it wasn't too much whiskey. Well, it was that and the sweaty cheese.
Okay, so Rochelle is pulling out the outlet. My car has an outlet.
See,
Yes,
many cars do. It's crock pot for traveling. Well, it's handy. That is convenient. But crock pots typically are slow and low cooking, right? Like you're not, and you can't reheat it in a intense enough fashion to kill bacteria. So you either hold it. Crock pots typically are they're better for holding foods at a temperature that's already safe. So I get it. I get it. So yeah, but then the thing is, like, if you're bringing your Swedish meatballs for the staff get together, Rochelle, you're gonna have to leave your car running to keep that crock pot warm in the car until the 4 hours while you're waiting to your planning period to run out and grab it and bring it in and plug it in an outlet.
Rochelle won't do that though. I can
Okay.
tell you, based on what I know of Rochelle, this is what she'll do. She'll plug the thing in her house. She'll drop all the Swedish meatballs in the
Mm-hmm.
sauce and let it get up to heat for many hours. Then when she has to transport, she'll put them in the front seat. She'll plug it in so that it's unplugged from the house to the car. And
Yeah, it holds the
like
heat. They're meant to hold heat.
that's her style, not like. Yeah, I get what you're saying, Chris, and I kind of what I know of Rochelle, I'm making some inferences, but at the end of the day, I now, after listening to you talk about food preparation for years, I pay very close attention. Oh, I'm not interested in potlucks anymore. So now when somebody says, let's have a potluck, I used to be the guy that was like, bring it on. It's going to be great. Now I'm like, this is disgusting. I better eat before I show up because I don't know where it's come from, how it's been prepared. And I take no offense for someone to say the same thing about me. If
Yeah.
I bring something and for them to say, oh, shoot, man, I don't know where that came from. I'm like, that's cool. Like you do. And that's why I won't spend a lot of time on something either. I'm not going to cook a homemade lasagna and then have Chris Clough walk in and be like, I'm not touching that. Because that
Mm-hmm.
costs a lot of money. Like if you
Mm-hmm.
make it from scratch and stuff. So there's money, there's time, there's effort and care for someone to look at it and be like, I'm not touching that because I don't know how you prepared it. I can't be offended by that anymore. So I refuse to put my time, my energy, and my money into
Well said.
creating those things. But to each their own. I'm eyeballing. I've got some factors at play. If the cheese is sweaty, I'm not going near it. Um, if there's fresh fruit and I walk up to the fresh fruit that's like purchased from Zares, and I touch the package and it's cold. Okay, I'll have some fruit. Because I know you just bought it from the store and you came here, you put it out and you cracked it open. I'm going to take the risk there. But if I touch that plastic container and it's lukewarm, I'm not eating the fruit. I'll
Mm-hmm.
go for bananas that come with their own packaging, um, packaged items, which sucks because I'd rather have something homemade. But I'm not interested in having diarrhea for the next 12 hours. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but Rochelle does say that her dad has an iron stomach too, and it's probably why. I mean, I think as kids we all experienced it. Like you said, Chris, you go to a family function. Um, I remember now thinking back, nobody stood back and avoided the food. Everybody was just jumping in here, there, and
Mm-hmm.
everywhere. And yeah, they put the food out and people go at it. I know I know even as a dumb kid, without any of this knowledge or experience, there was some foods that I would look at. I'd still be hungry, and I'd look at them like, yeah, I'm not eating that because I know that's supposed to be really warm or really cold, and it's been out for hours, so I'm not going there with that. And I think that's human evolution. But then I think that sometimes we turn that switch off in our brain, and we just like, I'm hungry, I'm eating whatever's in front of me, and then yeah, it's the whiskey, too much whiskey.
Too much whiskey. Too much whiskey.
That
So
was I like this. This was good. Yeah, I like this. So when we got the Costco dog, it was warm.
it was.
It
It
because
was. It was the right temperature.
it's kept in a metal
Well, they had the steam
box.
box. It was that
Yeah.
steam box. So that's how you're. And Costco is a, like, people can still make mistakes, of course, and they could make choices that put people's health in danger. But it's also a machine, right? Like it is like in some ways probably the equivalent of like a hospital in its protocols,
Mhm.
because it's got to make money. It's got to make money. So the last thing, they don't look at it as like someone being unhappy with the $1.50 dog and drink. They're looking at it as like, that person's not going to come back and spend $400 on eggs or avocados. Like I have no doubt that's literally how they sort of assess their sort of like their safety. It's like, we cannot afford to have someone not come here and spend $1,000 on bags of chips.
Imagine somebody telling you they refuse to go to Costco because the hot dog made them sick. $1.50 hot dog makes you sick and causes you to never spend thousands of dollars there again. I love the psychology, right?
Yeah, well,
So yeah,
likely they would, or it would shift. They would probably, because I mean, they would probably go just to a different store. They would say the humans at that store are not operating well. People are just too damn addicted to Costco, right?
hmm um, I was gonna go through the food we ate and how
Mm-hmm.
it was all there were no warning signs. Like when we got our wings, they were hot,
Yep,
which was good. And then when we had our burger, it was hot. So
that
like
was good. That Gladiator burger,
it's a good
good joint.
burger, eh?
Good joint. Yeah, I like the beef bacon. That was really cool. That I think, when I think of this, because each time we go and we do foods, there's always kind of like a centerpiece experience. Like there's
hmm
something that I think about on the drive home. Like, that was really cool. And for Gladiator Burger, it was the walking in and looking to the right and seeing the table loaded up with the little portion cups with figs on it.
hmm
We're like, that's for people that are going to be breaking fast.
hmm
They're breaking fast because typically you start with figs to break your fast during Ramadan. So that was really cool. And then I'm looking at the menu. I'm like, Chids, what the hell's beef bacon? What's beef bacon? So we ask and we find out it's because they're halal burgers.
hmm
Halal burgers. And the burger, the beef bacon was a little bit like a smoky piece of jerky. Absolutely delicious. And I didn't miss the pork product at all. It was actually my mouth's watering right now, an excellent, it just added to the deep beefy flavor of the burger. Tons of umami on that burger. I would go back to Gladiator. And I would probably get the same burger that I got. It was entirely satisfying. Like that would be my burger, whatever it was, the Commander. I forget which one it was called.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was a good burger. Now, parking on the other hand, that was whacked. Like just that there's nowhere to. Obviously, it's serving. I think it's a place that's designed to serve the student population in the area because there's like no parking around it anywhere.
I mean, knowing that though, it's like I know yeah, you got a plan. I know my boys. I mean, and like I said, you and I, as we were driving from shifting, trying to find parking, we were in no rush.
No, it's true.
And we weren't meeting 15 people there like we normally would. So that's cool. And I know my boys want to go back, so we just kind of, you got to know if you're going to go there. And then maybe that's not a joint I'm not, if the family wants Gladiator Burger, I'm not going there Friday night at 6 p.m.
No.
That's not happening. So
no.
It's going to be like a Saturday afternoon or a Friday at 4.
Breakfast if they're open.
I know my family, we like, or at least I like to eat dinner on the earlier side.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's like, okay, who's coming with me? Because I won't have enough hands to walk up the street with all this food. Doing this at 4:30 when there's nobody there. Yeah, parking sucks there, but the burger's delicious, so I'm definitely
falls into that category. I don't put too much into the bucket, but it falls in that category. It is what it is. It is what it is.
Anything else you want to hit before we shut this thing down?
Looks like I'll be directing a play.
Cool.
I think I told you I put my name in for South Simcoe Theatre. They do something called Foreplay, and it's they call them lightly rehearsed play readings. So we don't have to have it memorized. I can just kind of practice director skills. We have auditions. There's auditions, and you get actors to work with, and that goes up at the end of June, which is kind of cool. The challenge with this is I have to decide whether or not, and it's just an order of operations, whether or not I'm also going to audition for one more show. So I'm in because there would be absolutely zero problems, except the Foreplay is one show only. You do one performance only. And it's on a day where I likely will have a tech rehearsal. If I got a role in that play, I would have a tech rehearsal that day, which means I wouldn't be able to go to the show that I directed.
You're going to try to direct a show that you might actually be in as well?
Separate thing. I would be directing actors in Foreplay. The show I want to audition for is at Black Horse. It's at a different theater, yeah.
Okay.
But the overlap, there's 1 day overlap. Performance day for the play is the same day. Likely, when I look at the timing of the rehearsals for the other play, it's likely there'll be a tech run that day. So I have to decide how that's going to play out. But that's either way, cool. I had sort of looked into doing the directing first, so that's sort of like on the thing first. I have to decide whether or not I'm going to go on an audition for the other thing. And tonight's second to last show. Tomorrow's the last show for God of Carnage, so it'll be nice to put that. I keep saying to people, put that character to rest. I'll be happy to not have to do that character anymore. A fun character, but just I'm ready to move on.
Well, you have to keep us updated
for sure.
Yeah, we'll have to hear how this plays out. Lots of play. What do we got here, Chris? It's a gift box.
Present.
It's a present. The present is season 7 episode 21 number 286.
Well
I like it. Okay. This was season 7, episode 21, number 286. Thanks for everybody who joined us in the laughs, making enemies, talking about burgers and vegans and potlucks. That's what this one's for. So when someone
Hot
says,
shots at potlucks.
you guys ever talk about potlucks? We could be like, yeah, man, 286. Go and check it out.
That's it.
Have a good one.
You too. Take care, dude.
Peace.